All right, let's dive in. Today, we're doing something a little different. This isn't just a book review. No, this is more of a love letter. A love letter to a story that honestly has been charming readers for over 2 centuries. So let's get ready to step into the incredible world of Jane Austen's Emma. Jane Austen wrote, "One half of the world cannot understand the pleasures of the other." And you know what? That quote just perfectly sums up the world we're about to enter. We're talking about Highbury, this small, almost bubble-like town where everyone's lives are completely tangled up together. Their passions, their problems, it's a whole universe in itself. A universe that, honestly, most outsiders just don't get. And sometimes the people inside don't even get each other.
Okay, so welcome to Highbury. And right at the heart of it all, we meet our heroine. The book itself describes her as handsome, clever, and rich. I mean, talk about an intro. This is Emma Woodhouse. She's got a beautiful home, a doting father, and basically zero problems. She is, without a doubt, the queen bee of Highbury society. On the surface, yeah, she's got it all.
So, let's get the essentials out of the way. We're talking about Emma by the one and only Jane Austen. It came out way back in 1816. The genre? It's a novel of manners, a romance, and it's for anyone who loves classic lit or really just a super witty, character-driven story. It's this incredible look at courtship, social class, and the sometimes hilarious, sometimes kind of painful journey of a young woman who is 100% sure she knows what's best for everyone. So here's the thing about Emma. At 21, she thinks she has life completely figured out. Love, marriage? Nah, not for her. She's got a great dad, a gorgeous house, and enough money that she never has to get married. For her, it's a choice, not something she needs to do to survive. So what's her passion? It's not finding a guy for herself. Oh no. It's playing matchmaker for everybody else. And that brings us to the real heart of the story, the matchmaker's misadventures. This is a tale of some charming, but let's be honest, completely misguided folly. See, this is where it all kicks off. Emma's just had one successful match under her belt, and she's feeling pretty good about herself. So she decides to take on a new project. And this, my friends, is what starts a whole chain of hilarious and totally misguided events. And what does Emma say to justify all this meddling? There are people who the more you do for them, the less they will do for themselves. Wow, right? You can just hear the condescension in that. She sees her new friend Harriet Smith less as a person and more as, well, a project. Someone who absolutely needs her brilliant guidance to get by.
So the project begins. Emma decides she's going to find the perfect husband for her friend, Harriet Smith, who is super sweet, but maybe a little naive. Emma is completely convinced she knows what's best. So what's the first thing she does? She convinces Harriet to turn down a proposal from a totally decent, respectable farmer. Why? Because Emma's sure she can do way, way better for her.
And listen to this. This is what Emma thinks about her own situation. I shall not be a poor old maid, and it is poverty only which makes celibacy contemptible to a generous public. I mean, this says everything about how she sees the world. She is so sure of her own financial security. To her, marriage isn't about love or necessity. It's just a social game, and it's a game she feels like she's too good to even play. So this all leads to a huge decision for Harriet. You've got two guys in the running. In one corner, there's Robert Martin. He's an honest, sensible farmer, and he genuinely loves Harriet. In the other corner, Mr. Eldon, a social climbing vicar who is way more interested in status than anything else. So what's Emma's verdict? Robert Martin? Unsuitable. Mr. Elton? The perfect match. She's so blinded by social class that she pushes Harriet towards Mr. Elton, and, well, it's a recipe for total disaster. Okay, so after all those blunders and mix-ups, the story really starts to shift gears. This is where we get to a lesson in humility. It's that painful but completely necessary awakening. Emma's confidence, which seemed unbreakable, finally starts to crack. And this is where things get really interesting. So I want to ask you this. When does wit become cruelty? It's a really important question, and it's at the heart of the book's biggest turning point. See, Emma has always been known for being clever, for having a sharp tongue. It's part of her charm. But then at this picnic at a place called Box Hill, she goes way, way too far. So they're all at this picnic, right? And in just a single moment of total thoughtlessness, Emma makes this joke. It's witty, sure, but it's also incredibly cruel. And it's aimed at Miss Bates, a kind-hearted, if a bit talkative woman who's not well off and has literally adored Emma since she was a baby. The insult, it just lands like a punch to the gut. And the one person who calls her out on it? Mr. Knightley. He's been her friend forever, kinda her moral compass. And he doesn't hold back. He tells her, "It was badly done indeed. You, whom she had known from an infant. To have you now laugh at her, humble her? Oof." That criticism just cuts right through all of Emma's defenses. And right there, that's the turning point of the whole book. And for the very first time, Emma is forced to really look at herself. And she doesn't see a clever, popular girl. She sees a bully. And the shame she feels is just profound. It's mortifying, but it's also transformative. This is the moment her real journey, the one toward actually understanding other people, truly begins. And believe it or not, this new humility, this moment of shame, it changes everything. It's what leads us to Emma's happy ending, a heart humbled and a heart won. As Emma starts seeing the world and herself with clear eyes, that whole tangled mess of relationships in Highbury finally starts to come undone, paving the way for a happy ending that she actually truly earns. There's another great quote that sums this part up. "Seldom, very seldom does complete truth belong to any human disclosure. Seldom can it happen that something is not a little disguised or a little mistaken." This is so perfect for what's about to happen. You have to understand, all these secrets and misunderstandings have been simmering just under the surface. And now, the lid is about to blow. The truth is coming out. And man, it happens fast. It's this cascade of revelations. First, bam, a secret engagement between Frank Churchill and Jane Fairfax is revealed. Then we find out who Harriet Smith really has feelings for. And it's not who Emma thought. And in the middle of all this craziness, Emma has the biggest realization of all. She's in love. She's in love with Mr. Knightley. So in the end, Emma, transformed by all her mistakes, gets her happy ending. But it's not because she's a great matchmaker, because she wasn't. It's because she's finally a woman who knows her own heart. And that's the real romance of this book, you know? It's not just about finding a guy. It's about Emma finding herself. Her happiness isn't some prize. It's a reward for the really tough, humbling work she did to grow as a person. All right, so that brings us to our love letter verdict. Why does this 200-year-old story still capture our hearts? I mean, really, why do we keep coming back to it? I think it's because it's so much more than just a clever romance. It's this deep, honest look at what it actually means to grow up. And here's the final lesson, the big takeaway. True happiness isn't found in trying to arrange the world around you to fit your own ideas. It's found in the difficult, humbling, but ultimately beautiful journey of understanding yourself. Emma starts out trying to run everyone else's life, and she only finds real joy when she does the messy work of figuring out her own heart. And that's why it's timeless, right? It's a reminder that we all have to make that journey from thinking we know everything to actually knowing ourselves. And hey, don't just take my word for it. We are not alone in loving this book. You've got literary giants, people like Sir Walter Scott, who back in 1817 praised Austen's spirit and originality. And then there's Virginia Woolf, who pointed out that Austen is a mistress of much deeper emotion than appears upon the surface. They knew she was a genius at finding huge, important feelings in the small moments of everyday life. So, when you look at its perfect structure, its absolutely unforgettable main character, and its wisdom that still hits home today, our final grade for Emma, it has to be a 10 out of 10, a flawless masterpiece. It is, quite simply, one of the best. So, if this whole explainer made you want to dive in, what should be on your bookshelf? Well, first, if you haven't already, you have to read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Another iconic heroine, another witty look at love and class. And if you want to see where Austen herself got some of her inspiration, check out Evelina by Fammy Burney. It's a foundational novel of manners, and you can totally see the influence. And that's it for our love letter to Emma. Thank you so much for joining me on this one. If you had a good time, please make sure to follow and subscribe. We've got a lot more explainers coming on the classic stories that we all know and love. We'll see you in the next one.